Art Accord was one of the few cowboys who have ridden the acclaimed bucking horse Steamboat, who inspired the bucking horse logo on the Wyoming license plate for the full 8 seconds. His rodeo skills had been sharpened when he worked for a time for the Miller Brothers traveling 101 Ranch Wild West shows. It was with the 101 that he became friends with Tom Mix, Yakima Canutt, Beho Gray, Bronco Billy Anderson, and Hoot Gibson. He was sometimes called the Mormon Cowboy. He went on to become a noted actor in silent western films. He also performed as a stuntman and made over 100 film shorts, most of which are now considered lost. He enlisted in the United States Army in World War I and served overseas. At war's end, he returned to the motion picture business, appearing in a series of popular film shorts as Buck Parvin, the title character for a Universal's picture serial. Because of a heavy drinking problem and his inability to adapt to the advent of talkies, his film career declined and he ended up performing in road shows and mining in Mexico. In March 1928, Accord was seriously burned in an explosion at his home. The loss of his sight was feared. On January 4, 1931, Art Accord died in a Mexican hospital shortly after taking cyanide in a local hotel room. He was depressed and told the doctor who treated him shortly before he died that he had intentionally taken poison because he wanted to die. His body was sent back to California by train. He was given a military funeral with full honors and was buried in the Vale of Memory section in Forest Lawn Memorial Park Cemetery in Glendale, California. Hastings was an American film actor who made films both in Mexico and the United States. Born in Mexico City, Mexico, after his mother died, he moved to Laredo, Texas to live with an uncle. In 1932, he returned to Mexico where he worked for the railroad, as a tour guide, and as a journalist for a bilingual magazine. He was discovered by film director Miguel Zacarías when he recited a soliloquy from Hamlet to an American tourist. He made his mark in several Mexican films, becoming known for playing characters with strong nationalist traits. He often played tough and manly men, indigenous, peasants, and revolutionaries, and he repeatedly portrayed Pancho Villa. In the late 1940s, he made the jump to Hollywood, working for John Ford in 3 films. In 1956, he had a role in The Conqueror, produced by Howard Hughes. It was filmed in the state of Utah at the time when the U.S. government was conducting atmospheric nuclear testing in neighboring Nevada. Within 25 years, 91 of the 220 people involved in the production developed cancer. 46 who died of cancer or complications related to it.
Here are the rich ones. Señorita, Jose Juan. They told me you were in this town and I knew I'd find you. It's good to see you. Just look who's a priest. Look who is a general. Come on over here.
Hastings began to suffer pain in his hips. Years later, it was discovered that he had neck cancer. He learned his condition was terminal while at the UCLA Medical Center in Los Angeles, California, and reportedly endured great pain to film From Russia with Love in order to assure his family financial resources. On June 18, 1963, while at the UCLA hospital, reports state that he was given the news that he had only 1 more year to live. Something he may have already known inside because he had apparently smuggled a gun into the hospital with him. His wife, who was with him at the hospital, went out for some food. After she left, Pedro made the decision to commit suicide by shooting himself with a gun. He is buried in Mexico City. Jeff Allen was an American football player who played for the Houston Oilers of the National Football League. He was a backup player for most of his career. He played 4 seasons with the Oilers. His final year was marred by a contract holdout and injury. Elam felt lonely in Houston and kept in touch with a handful of close friends from home in college, including Shawn Lynch. During his junior year at college, he met Sean P. Lynch, a transfer student, while playing on the football field together. Elam and Lynch eventually became best friends despite their differences in both personality and stature, and were inseparable. As Elam's mother Betty described, "I always described them as Mutt and Jeff. Sean was so little, they looked so funny together." According to a witness, Jeff and Sean had dinner at a Houston area steakhouse on December 13, 1993. At 2:45 a.m. Central Standard Time the following day, Elam's Cadillac lost control heading south on Interstate 610, southbound at the 59 North exit ramp, and Lynch was throwing out of the car because the convertible top was down, to his death. Elam had been speeding and lost control of his 1993 Cadillac Eldorado on a curved exit ramp. After the crash, Elam ran across the ramp and looked down at the embankment towards the Southwest Freeway, discovering that his boyhood friend had been thrown to his death 30 feet below. Apparently distraught by his best friend's death, Elam took out a pistol-grip shotgun, fired 2 shots into the air, and then shot himself in the head. Elam had made a frantic 911 call to summons help. Elam shouted, "Sean, are you alright?" at the beginning of the call. He tried to tell the operator the location of the wreck. "I had an accident on 59 North. I have a buddy dying." Elam seemed shaken and confused as he tried to give the precise location. After saying hello twice, nothing more was heard from Elam. About 25 seconds after his last words, the first shot was heard. The second shot followed just 15 seconds later, but it's not quite as loud as Jeff was moving away from his car toward the spot where Sean is directly below. The third shot came 10 seconds later, the final one 10 seconds after that. Chris Ackland played in a number of bands including The Infection, Less Turds, A Touch of Hysteria, and Panic, before founding Lush in 1988 with Steve Ripton, Emma Anderson, Merle Burham, and Mickey Brunelli. Lush released their debut mini-album, Scar, and developed a following as a live act. On October 17, 1996, the band Lush had completed their tour and music festival appearances. 2 days after bandmate Emma Anderson announced a desire to quit the band, Chris was found dead as a result of suicide by hanging in his parents' garage in Burnside, Cambria, England. Devastated by the news, Lush bandmates subsequently disbanded after a period of mourning. Keith Andrews was born in Ocean City, New Jersey. He served in the United States Army Air Corps during World War II. He debuted in cinema in Winger Victory in 1944 in an uncredited role. In 1947, he appeared as one of Loretta Young's brothers in the classic film The Farmer's Daughter. He also worked in Clash by Night with Marilyn Monroe, Blackbeard the Pirate in 1952, and The Girl Most Likely in 1957. On stage, he won a Theatre World Award for The Chocolate Soldier in 1947, and he starred in Kiss Me Kate, Wildcat, and The Man from La Mancha in 1968. On television, he appeared in 2 series, This Man Dawson in 1959 and the sitcom Glennis in 1963. In 1970, he worked in the film Tora Tora Tora, and is best remembered to Star Trek fans for his performance as Akunta in the episode The Apple.
Irene gave me to work with her. Irene came into work with a black eye. The fella she married in San Jose when she's working the fruit canners came down last night. Wanted her to go back upstate and live with him again. And when she wouldn't, he just beat her up awful. You should see her eye.
Well, he's her husband.
So what? I suppose you'd beat me up too if I was your wife.
Sure, regular.
Let me see you try. Just let me see any man try.
What would you do? Scratch my eyes out?
Audio preview.
Just try it. You'll find out.
Tough, ain't you?
Yeah.
We should have had you in the 3rd Division.
Let go of me.
Sure. Ouch!
When I want you to kiss me, I'll let you know.
Friends described him as a jokingly brusque individual who would correct one's English and pronunciation with a sarcastic tinge. Suffering from bladder cancer, he committed suicide. He hanged himself in his home in Santa Clara, Los Angeles, California. His body was donated to science. Gia Alleman began modeling early, and as a baby, she appeared in Johnson & Johnson ads and as a Gerber baby. As a teenager, she never initially thought about a career in modeling. However, at 19, she began modeling after she was asked to enter a swimsuit competition that she won. Alleman took acting classes in high school and at Hartford College. In 2010, she was selected to play a role in an upcoming film produced by Brett Ratner on the life of actor Johnny Russo. She was cast to play the supporting role of actress Ava Gardner. Russo cast her for the part, saying, "Gina looks a lot like Ava, but it's really the passion that she had that convinced me to cast her." Alleman's work in television began when she was selected to be on ABC's reality show The Bachelor, Season 14, which aired on January 4th, 2010. The show placed her with 24 other women, all contending for the affection of pilot Jake Pavelka. Being in a committed relationship at the time, she refused to participate in a kissing contest and was eliminated in the 3rd episode.
Jake is such a gentleman. He is just the perfect gentleman, and he is sweet and genuine and a great person with a great heart. Jake is very perfect, so I haven't found any flaws yet. I can't imagine him having any.
Everybody has a flaw.
He's pretty perfect so far.
In 2013, she was living in New Orleans and dating NBA player Ryan Anderson, who was playing for the New Orleans Pelicans. According to police reports, Alleman had been arguing on the afternoon of August 12, 2013 with her boyfriend over her suspicions of him having been unfaithful to her. Later that day, she hanged herself from the handrail of a spiral staircase on the 2nd floor of her apartment, with a vacuum cleaner cord wrapped around her neck. Alleman was admitted to the University Hospital in New Orleans. She was declared brain dead and removed from life support 2 days later, on the 14th of August, 2013. August Ames appeared in more than 100 films, including a non-pornographic film in 2016, and was nominated for several adult video awards. Weeks prior to her death, Ames said that she had a history of bipolar depressive disorder and dissociative identity disorder, also known as multiple personalities, due to a traumatic childhood, stating, "Some days I'll be fine, and if I'm not doing anything, I'll get these awful flashbacks of my childhood, and I get very depressed. And I can't get out of bed, and I cancel all my scenes for a week or two." In December 2017, Ames was due to perform in a pornographic scene, but withdrew when she learned that the co-star was a man who appeared in gay pornography. On December 3rd, 2017, August posted on Twitter, informing whichever performer was replacing her tomorrow that the guy shooting the scene had shot a gay porn. And in the same tweet complaining that agents don't care about who they are representing. That message drew criticism and abuse from social media users. Ames, who was bisexual, defended her right to exercise her sexual autonomy in a subsequent tweet. On December 5th, 2017, 2 days after her tweet, Ames was found dead in a park in Camarillo, California. Her death was ruled a suicide due to asphyxia by hanging. Close friends stated that cyberbullying led to her suicide. Stephanie Adams was born in New York City and says she was raised by her two aunts who were both models and decided to follow them in the industry at the young age of 16. At 22 in 1992, she was a centerfold for Playboy and at the time claiming to be the first openly lesbian playmate. But she claimed on her website to have dated several famous men including Elite model founder John Casablancas, Kevin Kline, supermodel Ted Stevenson, and Robert De Niro. She met her husband Charles Nicolai on Match.com and the two were engaged in 2009. On June 24, 2010, she gave birth to her son, Vincent. Back in May 2006, during a dispute over where to drop her off, a New York City cab driver called the police and falsely reported that Adams was armed with a gun and had threatened to shoot him. The taxi driver's license was subsequently revoked and he was fined $2,700 for the incident. Adams alleged that during the incident, police threw her to the ground, causing injuries to her neck and back. Adams filed a lawsuit against the New York Police Department in 2006. In February 2012, a jury awarded her $1.2 million, $400,000 more than had been sought by her lawyer, but the judge later reduced it to $373,000. Adams stated that she had no animosity towards the New York Police Department.
I was just trying to get home, and I just wanted him to make a left turn, and he got extremely upset and was cursing and threatening me and got out of the taxi to threaten me, and it turned out eventually that he was not, he was mentally disturbed, calling me a vampire and other things, but I knew something was wrong. I'm just very grateful to the jury, and I waited 6 years for justice, and I just pray and hope that other people who are victims will speak out as well. And
after her marriage in 2010 to Charles Nicolai, a Manhattan chiropractor, Adams said she was retiring from public life and would spend most of her time privately with her husband and son. During their marriage, cops responded to a domestic dispute call at the couple's residence, and cops had to separate the fighting couple. In 2017, she filed for divorce from Nicolai and was seeking child support from him. Stephanie Adams and her estranged husband were in Manhattan Supreme Court just a few days before her death, and she had asked the judge for permission to take their son, Vincent, to Spain for the summer. Reports say that Adams had a boyfriend that lived in Spain and owned a home in London. Nicolai, who had visitation rights, fought against the plans, and ultimately a judge sided with him. Adams was ordered to turn over Vincent's passport as a result. On the evening of May 17, 2018, Adams checked into a 25th floor penthouse in the Gotham Hotel on 46th Street in Manhattan with her 7-year-old son. The next morning, both were found dead on a second-floor balcony in the hotel's rear courtyard. Adams apparently pushed her son over the edge to his death, then she followed him by jumping to her death. The New York City medical examiner ruled Adams' death a suicide, while that of her son a homicide. Stephanie Adams and her son Vincent were laid to rest at St. John Cemetery, New Rockford, North Dakota.